So, today we're going to unpack one of the most beautiful and honestly counterintuitive ideas out there: how perfect, totally unpredictable chaos logically gives birth to unwavering, predictable order. It's a concept that powers some of the biggest businesses in the world, and it all kicks off with a pretty simple question.
And yeah, it's a puzzle that seems to totally defy logic, right? I mean, think about a casino or even an insurance company. Their whole business model is built on things you can't predict: a spin of a wheel, a roll of the dice, some freak accident. So, how on earth can they be so confident they'll win in the long run? That's the puzzle we're solving today.
And the answer? Well, it's all wrapped up in this really powerful principle. It's this idea that what looks like a complete mess up close, it actually reveals a secret, stable pattern when you just zoom out. This one phrase is the key to unlocking the whole mystery. Okay, so to really get this, let's start with that first half, the disorder in the small. This is the world of those individual random events that, we see every single day. Just imagine this. You flip a coin 10 times. You'd expect, what, maybe 5 heads, 5 tails, something like that. But what if you got 9 heads? You'd be thinking, this coin is broken, or something impossible just happened. But here's the thing. In the short term, these wild swings aren't just possible. They're actually an expected part of randomness. And that's just the nature of randomness when you're looking at a small sample size. It's chaotic. You see these huge swings away from the average, constant ups and downs. And frankly, the results can be totally misleading. 10 coin flips might make you think that heads comes up 90% of the time, which, of course, we know is just plain wrong. But what happens when we zoom out? Let's flip to the other side of this and see how all this chaos builds into the world of stability in the great. This is where the magic really starts to happen. Now, to get there, we need to understand a key idea: the fair sample. And don't worry, all this really means is a set of results where the outcome, like the percentage of heads, gets really, really close to its true probability, 50%. So a run of, say, 501 heads out of 1,000 flips, that's a very fair sample. And this just lays it all out perfectly. Short little segments, they're wild, they're misleading. But as you keep going, as you increase the number of trials, the results start to stabilize. Those crazy swings get drowned out, and what you're left with, overwhelmingly, are these fair samples. The unpredictable, well, it becomes predictable. Just look at this. The deviation, how far your result is from that perfect 50-50, it's huge with just 10 flips. But at 100 flips, it's already smaller. And by the time you hit 1,000 flips, it's tiny. As the numbers get bigger and bigger, the results are basically forced to hug that true average. The foam settles, and you see the water underneath. And here's the kicker, the punchline. As the number of trials gets infinitely large, what's the probability that you'll end up with one of these fair samples? It's 1. Certainty. It's not just likely to happen, it is guaranteed.
Okay, so we've established what happens. Chaos up close gives way to order from afar. But the real question, the one you're probably asking, is how? What's the secret ingredient that makes this incredible transformation even possible?
The key is this single, super strict condition called absolute freedom. It's just a formal way of saying that each and every event is completely independent. There can be no after effect. And that means one event has absolutely zero, zip, influence on the next one. So, this is the crucial point. The coin has no memory. Seriously, it doesn't know it just landed on heads 5 times in a row, so it doesn't think, oh, I guess I owe them a tails now. Nope. The odds for the very next flip are always and forever 50-50, no matter what came before. That right there is absolute freedom. All right, now we can finally put all the pieces together. We have the rule, this idea of absolute freedom, and we have the outcome, stability. Let's build that logical bridge and finally solve our puzzle. Which brings us right back to that central paradox. How can a system that's built on total, memoryless unpredictability, from one event to the next, how can that logically force a predictable outcome over the long haul? It still kind of feels like we're getting something from nothing. The answer comes from something called Bernoulli's theorem. And the most important thing to get about this is that it's not a law of nature. It's not like gravity. It's a theorem of pure logic. It's a proof. And that proof shows that this connection is actually a tautology. Now, that's a fancy word for something that's true just by definition. It's like saying all bachelors are unmarried men. The truth is already baked right into the words themselves. So here's the big reveal, and it is just a beautiful piece of logic. We start with our really strict definition of true randomness, this absolute freedom from any kind of after effect. From that single starting point, and that starting point alone, a predictable, stable order in the long run logically has to happen. It's not magic. It's not a secret force of the universe. It's a tautology. The stability isn't some happy accident of randomness. It's a requirement of it, contained right there in the very definition. So let's wrap this up. The paradox is solved, but what does this really mean for how we look at the world? Here's what it all boils down to. The casino doesn't get its certainty from the ignorance of the next card. Not at all. Instead, we deduce order directly from the definition of chaos itself. That stability we see isn't just something that tends to happen in random systems, it is actually required by the very definition of randomness. And this gives us a fantastic way to picture it. The small individual events, they're like the choppy, turbulent, unpredictable foam on the surface of the ocean. But the great overall phenomenon, that's the massive, stable body of water underneath, whose average level is perfectly, predictably calm. And that leaves us with one last really fascinating question to chew on. If the purest form of chaos logically guarantees a deep and stable order, well, what does that imply about all of the other patterns we see? In nature, in society, even in our own lives? It's a pretty profound thought, and it all comes from something as simple as flipping a coin.